In this lesson, we're going to continue unwrapping the UVs for our weapon. Alright, so we've been unwrapping for about 3 or 4 lessons now, and we're coming down to the end of this portion here, at least on the frame itself and the barrel. So in the last lesson, we have these little pieces that need to be taken care of, but we'll find that whenever we look at those, they're actually unwrapped pretty well. Let's go ahead and open up the UV editor. We have this piece right here. Let's go ahead and just select by cluster. So we're going to come in with polygon mode, element mode turned on. You'll see that we have this piece here. That's along the back side here. Okay, now that's all part of one smoothing group. We could split that apart if we want, but we need to make sure that we have a seam on those edges, just like we have here. I'm okay with the way that is right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at how this looks flattened out. So let's go ahead and go to our X projection on that. So planar projection, and we'll go to X. Oh, let's do Y on that. And there is our object. Now obviously that is skewed quite a bit. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and scale that in the horizontal direction. Turn off your projection and scale that in until we get this nice crisp square pattern on our texture. That looks great. Now we can just come in and relax that a little bit, and we shouldn't get too much of a fuss whenever we relax that. So it kind of straightens out on most of those areas. We get a little bit of the squares kind of skewing just a little bit, but that's okay. We may go ahead and just push that back out, maybe scale it in the horizontal just a little bit, just kind of paying attention to that. And that looks good. All right, so with that one, let's go ahead and move it out of the way. And so I'm just going to put it right up here above that. Let's select the other one just like it, and we're going to do the same thing. So our planar projection, we're going to use the Y direction on that. Let's grab our scale tool and let's scale that in the horizontal direction. Try to get that as square as possible. Okay, and then we'll use the relax. Shouldn't change it too much. And then if we need to make any quick adjustments to that, we can go ahead and scale that in just a little bit. Okay, now with that, we'll go ahead and we'll grab our move tool. Let's put this one up by it, so that way we get these nice little pairs here. Looks good. And then let's move on to our next piece. Now some of these, like this one here, these are going to be perfectly fine. It's already flattened out. It looks great in my opinion. You could do maybe a little bit of a relax on that just to kind of see what that gives you, but you notice that it's already flattened out and it doesn't relax at all. So that one's good. Let's take a look at this one. This one's good too. What's this piece here? Let's take a look. That's underneath the trigger. With this, we can go ahead and make this all one loop right in here. Let's go ahead and turn on our seams here so we can see that. So you can see that we've got a couple of different pieces here. So what I want to do is I actually want to stitch all of these together into one long strip, and then I'll make the seam right up here at the top. So to check where that seam is, select that edge, and you'll see that's right along the top there. So I'm going to leave that open, and then I'm going to stitch everything based on from here down. So with that selected, all we have to do is go ahead and stitch. Every time you do a stitch like this, go ahead and select that entire element, and then do a relax. Okay. So we'll relax by polygon angles, and then we'll come in, and I know it's overlapping that. If you want, you can go ahead and just move it out of the way here. Go to edge mode, double click on this edge. Just take a look where it's going to come from. There it is. And then we'll just simply stitch that, and again select that entire element including the new piece, start relax, and then one more time we're going to double click on this edge. We'll stitch that, and let's make sure that we get that there. Yep. Alright, let's stitch that there. I didn't notice that one piece come in. Let's select that new element, relax it a little bit, double click on that edge, stitch, and then select that entire element and relax. So now that is one entire strip. Now if you come in and you accidentally double click on this edge and you try to stitch it to a new piece, it's going to stitch it to itself. And notice what that looks like whenever you stitch that. Oops, let's not relax. If we stitch that, notice that it connects itself again, and that's going to create problems in your texture map, so we don't want that. Make sure that it stays out of strip like this. All right, now with that, let's go ahead and rotate this. Let's grab our rotation tool. Let's make sure we grab all of that and just try to straighten that up a little bit. We don't have to be perfect or anything like that, but at least horizontal or vertical. All right, so let's move on to our next piece. Look, what is this here? That's the end of our barrel. That looks fine. We're going to leave that just the way it is. Take a look at this piece here. Where is that? I believe that's in a different smoothing group. That's okay. Let's select this guy here. That is going to be on the inside of the gun here. So I'm going to go ahead and do exactly what we had just done for the inside of the trigger. I'm just going to make that one loop of polygons there. And so to do this, let's double click on the last edge and we'll stitch that. And double click on the last edge here, we'll stitch that one. And then double click one more time and we'll stitch that one. Let's see if we've got any more there. Notice the blue, it's going to start at the end again. We don't want that, so we'll just go ahead and select the whole thing. And we can go ahead and just do a quick relax on that by polygon angles. So notice that it's already come out. It's got a nice checker pattern to that. It does look a little weird, but that's okay. We're not worried about how that looks in that way. Okay, so with that, we can go ahead and move it out of the way. Let's grab our move tool. And I'm just going to position that there. We've got this piece. That's going to be along the front. That looks good. We have this one along the other side. That looks great. And then we have these pieces, I'm sure. Nope, different smoothing group. We've got this. That looks great. And then this, which is going to be along the front. That looks great as well. And then we've got this piece here, which is kind of odd if you really look at it. We've got this flat portion right here, and then it comes up underneath and it's separated out. It comes all the way up to this point. It's flattened out. It looks great on the UV, so we're just going to leave it just the way it is. And then one final piece, which is going to be up here on the top on the sight, that's been flattened out. Let's take a look at this. That's going to be also right here. So all of those look good. So we've only taken care of the pieces that needed a little bit of work. So we're going to take all of these, and then what we'll do is we'll bring those back in. So let's just simply do a quick pack on that. And that's going to bring those in. That's going to make sure that they're, the UVs are the same size as everything else. So that looks great. And then what we'll do is grab our move tool, and we're going to pull that up and then over to the left here. So just position it right above that. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at our next group. And so we're going to do select by smoothing group 3 and then select that. And then we'll take those and we're going to go to mapping, flatten mapping, hit OK. The reason that I do the flatten mapping is because it breaks that selection off of anything that it might be currently connected to. And so by flattening it out, we know that everything that's on smoothing group 3 is broken off and it's on its own smoothing group, so we don't have to worry about any of that. And then all we have to do is just bring all those parts together. All right, so now that we've flattened that out, we'll go ahead and we'll start stitching all of this together in our next lesson.